Now, from WNYT, this is Forum 13.
Good morning, I'm Phil Bailey. Thanks for joining us on Forum 13 this morning. We're going to talk about an animal rescue with some heartwarming stories. Then we're going to talk about fresh fruits and vegetables, Berkshire grown. But first, HeartsHerd is a place where pets go when they really have nowhere else to go. It's an animal rescue in Rensselaer County. We're joined by Tracy Muscatello, the founder of HeartsHerd. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us how HeartsHerd came about.
Well, for the last 20 years, I've had a wonderful business in the Latham area, taking care of clients' animals. And just due to the nature of the business, I would always hear of a dog that might need a home, a litter of kittens that was found abandoned. So I always did do mild rescue, and I sat on the board at a couple of different animal rescue organizations and hosted adoption clinics. But as more and more was accumulating on my plate, and I acquired this beautiful piece of property in Rensselaer County in Buskirk, it seemed like I was really taking on a lot more animals, dogs, cats, horses, goats, geese, ducks, whatever came across my plate. So the last personal rescue I did, where I knew that it was just going to be too much to do on my own without making a non-for-profit and a foundation, was of 3 horses. And as I lied in bed trying to figure out how to do it, the name HeartsHerd came to me because all of my animals herd together and love each other. It's like a grateful heart really does know gratitude. And then it was like God heard my plea of wanting to do a sanctuary, and everything else has just been falling into place.
What's the name of your business?
It's called Pet Spas of America.
Okay, and you're in Latham.
In Latham.
All right, now HeartsHerd, this is what, 22 acres?
Yes,
Out in
about
Buskirk?
21.75.
And how big an area do you cover as far as where you will take rescued animals from?
I like to, I like to service my state and my community. There's so many abandoned and unwanted animals all over, and of course you want to save everybody. But if every community took care of their own community, then I think that the population would be a lot more at rest. A lot of the rescue would be unfruitful if you didn't do education and programs, and we're putting all of that in place too.
Right, you're not-for-profit?
Yes, we got our non-for-profit in August.
All right, we can't be rude. Who is this sitting in your lap?
This is Riley, and he was actually one of my clients. Wonderful woman. Bought him over the internet on this website that made it sound like it wasn't a puppy mill. It wasn't her fault. These people plead to everyone's emotions. But he indeed was a puppy mill rescue. She couldn't keep him. She didn't realize all of his issues. I was just going to foster him and find him another home, but I started seeing some neurological things that were concerning me. Because he was from a puppy mill and not bred ethically, he has a condition called encephalitis. And he's he's only 3. His motor skills are okay except for his back end.
He's a beautiful dog.
Thank you.
But it requires this device, correct?
Yes,
To walk.
yes.
This fits kind of on his rear end, right?
Yeah, this is the harness. His legs go through here and his body goes through here, and it gives him total mobility. It's weightless on him. An engineer in Massachusetts, Eddie's Wheels, made this for him. I brought him over, they fitted him up. They were amazing people. And it's weightless on him, the way it harnesses him, and it gives him freedom.
Because Riley's only, what, you say 3 years old?
He just turned 3 in November, yes.
He's a well-behaved dog.
Thank you.
Okay, you're a rescue center, so you mentioned some animals. What kind of animals do you have out there right now out in Buskirk?
We have horses, we have goats, we have geese, we have ducks, we have chickens, we have dogs and cats. And most of what we're trying to do is build a very safe, almost like a home-like situation on our land for more dogs and cats, because that really is what the community needs.
Now, your sister says you are the one who would bring, even as a child, bring home the injured birds, the stray animals.
She would say that, yes. I think I started with a worm when I was like
Really?
2 years old.
You brought home a stray worm.
I found a worm in the earth, and I thought it needed companionship.
It's probably the happiest worm ever. And how do you acquire your animals? How do you come across them?
You know, and that's, again, it's HeartsHerd, because I listen to the story. That's a little bit different than some other rescues, although anybody that does animal work and rescue should be coveted. What I do is listen to the story itself. A client will tell me of someone who passed on and they don't know what to do with the dog and don't want to bring it to a local shelter because it's lived in a home. The last horse rescue I did, it was a neighbor that fell on hard times, really thought he could get up on his feet, couldn't get up on his feet, couldn't feed the horses, and unfortunately they were becoming malnourished. Whatever is told to me, I try to get involved and make a difference.
Yeah. Some of these animals, I think you said, or your website may not be adoptable?
Yes, we just rescued a pony. Her owner passed away and she was left in a field. And she has melanoma, and she can live with that for a while. But I wouldn't do that to a potential adoptee.
Right.
She'll have way too many health issues to have someone fall madly in love with her and then have a shorter life. So we give them quality of life and lots of love and almost like hospice care towards the end.
There's a little unusual, even for an animal rescue. Someone may want to bond with a horse or a dog, but they can't really keep them. And you can sponsor an animal, or you can come out and bond with that animal. Maybe you can't afford them, whatever. But you can come out regularly and sort of bond with that particular animal?
Absolutely, we encourage it, because as much as I love all the animals, they need tons of love, and they like to share that. So clients have come out and seen what we're trying to do, and absolutely the animals love the attention. If someone wanted a horse but wasn't ready for a horse, it's a big commitment. Even a dog, a cat, they can come out and spend some time and get to know the animals. Or if just one of their stories just grabs their heart and they just want to visit and give them a little extra love, they enjoy it. They live for it.
It sounds like it might be a good idea for a family, maybe a family with children, who doesn't know whether or not they're ready or they can handle having a dog or a cat or a horse.
Absolutely.
Come out and sort of give it a trial run. Because you say you will even allow them to return, and they can become friends with one particular animal if that's what they want to do.
Absolutely, most definitely.
You welcome sponsors. I mean, you are trying to
most definitely
pay the bills.
Right. I don't have anything set in place that you can only come out and visit once a month if you give me a certain amount of money.
Right.
That's not it. Matter of fact, everything we do is on donation basis. I don't ask for anything, and it's come back to me threefold.
Something else that other animal rescues I know have said it is hard to do. You might hold animals for people who perhaps have fallen on hard times, give them time to get back on their feet. Tell me about, there was a woman who had to give up her cats.
Yes, it was, I heard of the story through my sister. She was trying to help out her husband, and this woman loved her cats dearly. Went to all the no-kill shelters and everyone's full. Went to the local animal shelter knowing that the fate might be different, and unfortunately didn't even have the $100, the $25 a cat to surrender them. So she was gonna let them loose in the park. And I met her and I said, listen, let me take them, let me keep them. And there was just something about these 4 cats. I didn't have a plan, but there was something about the 4 cats. I didn't think they should be separated. I felt so bad for the woman. I felt so bad for the cats. So we kept them. And unbeknownst to me, about 6 weeks later, she called me and asked me about the cats, that she had been heartsick and nightmares, but she had gotten back up on her feet. She was getting a job. She had an apartment. And I wouldn't just give her the cats back without making sure everything was in place for the cats, meeting the landlord and making sure she had a good job and making sure she knew the education part of, you need to have a plan. You know, loving an animal isn't enough. You're responsible for feeding them and sheltering them and coming up with a plan for 15 years probably of their life. And anyway, she convinced me, and when I dropped them off, it was really a humbling experience for me, because it was really what I want to do. It was all about what I want to do, helping people, helping animals, and making the connection no matter what purpose they have.
This is not cheap. How do you get your funding?
Well, right now we're at the grassroots level of it. Again, I have an amazing clientele. I've been in the community for 20 years. I'm telling them what I'm trying to do, and they're just so generous. Making the non-for-profit and being a businesswoman, I like the win-win concept. You know, we've applied for our tax exempt, so anybody that does give us gifts and donations, you know, it's beneficial to them too. And then I'm planning on doing a capital campaign to try to raise funds to build the buildings that I need for the horses and the dogs and the cats. But having the business and loving my business, I'd like to build a profit scale within my business so that I don't have to live on solely donations and charity. I would eat at a restaurant that fed the poor. So, you know, if it goes hand in hand in what you're doing as a passion, then I feel it's a success.
Are you looking for volunteers?
As soon as I have the buildings built, I would love to have volunteers. And to be honest with you, on weekends when I'm there, to have volunteers to help groom the horses and give the love, and I would welcome that.
All right. You need other kinds of help?
As I said, right now we're at the grassroots part of it. As soon as the business plan is totally in place, we would be doing fundraising. I would love people to support me. But other than that, you know, just hearing their stories and feeling the love is what I need right at the moment.
Now, how do people find you?
Well, I have a website. HeartsHerd has a website. We're constructing it a little bit better, so it'll be even easier to navigate. But they can call me. My telephone number is on my brochure and my card, or they can...
And if that's hard to find, if they can't get into your car when you're not there, we're going to provide a link on our website at wnyt.com.
Wonderful.
All right, and so people should be able to just go to news links when you go to wnyt.com and look for HeartsHerd, and they should have all the information, the phone number and the website. It's a nice website. Now, is Riley an animal that you just could not adopt out?
He's come with a pretty expensive vet bill, and he's not a part of HeartsHerd. He was a part of why HeartsHerd became an organization, and he's my private animal, but he has really inspired me to do a lot of puppy mill legislation, do a lot of lobbying, networking with some wonderful organizations in our community to do more for animal rights.
Yeah. Well, he's a very well-behaved dog. Tracy Muscatello with HeartsHerd, which is out in Rensselaer County in Buskirk. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Phil. I really appreciate it.
All right, and all the best. And thank you for joining us. We'll be right back.